You ever have someone in your life who feels like home? Like no matter how messy the world gets, they're your safe place? Your person? That was Maddie for me. My best friend since 5th grade. The kind of friend who'd know your coffee order, your worst fears, and the exact shade of lip gloss you'd wear to a school dance. We were that duo. Inseparable. Unbreakable. Or so I thought. But here's the thing about trust. It's like glass. Beautiful, delicate, and when it shatters, it cuts deep. This is the story of how my best friend betrayed me in the worst way possible, and how I got my revenge. A revenge so cold, so calculated, it still gives me chills when I think about it. Let's go back to the beginning. It all started in 5th grade. Picture this: 2 scrawny 11-year-olds with matching glittery backpacks and an unhealthy obsession with Lisa Frank stickers. That was me and Maddie. I was the shy one, always overthinking everything, clutching my books like a shield. Maddie? She was a whirlwind. Loud, fearless, the kind of girl who'd raise her hand in class even if she didn't know the answer, just to make everyone laugh. We met during a group project, some diorama about the solar system. I was stressing over getting the planet sizes perfect, while Maddie was gluing glitter to Jupiter and calling it cosmic flare. Our teacher paired us up, probably hoping I'd calm her down, but instead, we clicked. By the end of the week, we were trading gel pens and promising to be best friends forever. Forever's a long time when you're 11. Over the years, our friendship grew into something deeper. We'd spend every weekend at each other's houses, sprawled on her bedroom floor, eating sour gummy worms and talking about everything: boys, dreams, the future. We had this ritual where we'd write our biggest wishes on scraps of paper and hide them under her rug. Mine were always practical. Get straight A's, go to a good college, maybe own a dog someday. Maddie's were wilder. Move to New York, become a famous writer, maybe meet Taylor Swift. She'd read me her stories sometimes, these sprawling, dramatic tales about love and adventure. I'd listen, wide-eyed, thinking she was the most talented person I knew. I wasn't creative like her, but I was her biggest fan, always. By high school, we were a package deal. We shared a locker, swapped hoodies, and had a million inside jokes. Like we'd quote The Office in the middle of math class and crack up while everyone else stared. We'd text each other at 2 a.m. about nothing, random memes, song lyrics, or just, ooh, awake. We even had matching charm bracelets, these cheap silver ones we got at Claire's, with little hearts that said BFF. Corny? Sure. But to us, they were everything. Maddie wasn't just my friend, she was my sister, my safe place. I told her things I'd never told anyone, like how I worried I wasn't good enough for my parents, or how I'd get panic attacks before big tests. She'd listen, hug me, and say, "You're stuck with me, okay? Ride or die." I believed her. God, I believed her. Junior year hit, and we were still the dynamic duo, navigating the chaos of high school together. Our school was like any other: cliques, drama, and way too many people obsessed with their Snapchat streaks. You had the jocks, the theater kids, the overachievers fighting for valedictorian. Maddie and I, we were somewhere in the middle. Not popular, but not invisible either. We had our little crew: Sophia, who was always late to everything, and Jake, who'd eat literally anything on a dare. But Maddie and I were the core, the heart. We'd spend lunch periods in the courtyard, gossiping about who hooked up at the last party, or laughing at Mr. Callahan's terrible calm-over. Maddie was the life of the group, always telling some exaggerated story that had us in stitches. I was the planner, the one who'd remind everyone about homework or make sure we didn't miss the bus for field trips. Together, we balanced each other out. Looking back, I think that's why we worked. She pushed me to be braver, and I kept her grounded. Or at least, I tried to. Then came Ethan. He transferred to our school halfway through junior year, and let me tell you, he was that guy. You know the type: floppy brown hair, a smile that could melt ice, and this effortless charm that made everyone like him. He wasn't a jock or a nerd, he was just Ethan. The kind of guy who'd wear a hoodie and still look like he stepped out of a Hollister ad. I didn't notice him at first. I was too busy stressing about AP Bio and college applications. But then we got paired up in chemistry and, yeah, sparks flew. Not literal ones, obviously, though I did almost set our lab table on fire once. He teased me about it for weeks. We started talking more. First about class, then about random stuff like our favorite movies or how we both hated pineapple on pizza. He'd text me dumb memes at midnight, and I'd blush at my phone like an idiot. By spring, we were dating. Ethan wasn't perfect. He'd forget to text back sometimes, and he had this annoying habit of calling everyone bro, even me. But when he'd hold my hand in the hallways or sneak me his hoodie during lunch, I felt special. Like I mattered. Maddie was my biggest cheerleader. She'd tease me mercilessly about Ethan, how I'd doodle his name in my notebook, or get all flustered when he walked by. But she was also my rock. When I'd overthink things, like whether Ethan really liked me or if I was being too clingy, she'd talk me down. One night, I was spiraling hard. Ethan had been distant for a couple of days, and I was convinced he was going to dump me. I called Maddie at like 1 a.m., sobbing into my pillow. She picked up on the first ring. "Girl, what's wrong?" she said, her voice all sleepy but concerned. I spilled everything, and she listened for an hour, telling me I was overreacting, that Ethan was lucky to have me. "He's just being a dumb boy," she said. "You're a catch, okay? Don't forget it." She stayed on the phone until I fell asleep. That's the kind of friend she was. Or at least, that's who I thought she was. By April, things with Ethan started getting off. He'd take hours to reply to my texts, even when I could see he was online. He'd cancel plans last minute, saying he was swamped with school or helping his mom with something. I wasn't stupid. I knew something was up. But every time I brought it up, he'd brush it off with a grin and a, "You're overthinking, babe." I'd vent to Maddie constantly. She'd listen, nodding, saying all the right things. "You deserve someone who's all in," she'd say. "Don't settle for less." But there was this distance in her voice sometimes, like she was holding back. I'd ask if she knew something I didn't, and she'd laugh it off. "Nah, I'm just tired," she'd say. I should have paid attention to that. One night, I hit my breaking point. Ethan hadn't texted me all day, and I was done playing cool. I sent him a long message, pouring my heart out. "What's going on?" I wrote. "If you don't want to be with me, just say it." I hit send, my hands shaking, and waited. Nothing. No reply. Not that night, not the next day. I was a wreck, checking my phone every 5 minutes, rereading my message to see if I'd sounded too needy. Maddie came over that weekend, and I cried on her shoulder for hours. "He's not worth it," she said, stroking my hair. "You're too good for him." Funny how she left out the part where she was the reason he was acting like that. 3 days later, it happened. I was in my room, scrolling through TikTok to distract myself when my phone buzzed. A text from Ethan. One sentence, "I think we're better as friends." That was it. No call, no explanation, just those 7 words staring back at me. I felt like someone had punched me in the chest. I kept rereading it, hoping I'd misread it, but no. It was real. He was gone. I called Maddie immediately, bawling. She came over with a pint of Ben & Jerry's and a stack of rom-coms. We sat on my bedroom floor, me crying into a pillow, her rubbing my back. "He's an idiot," she said. "You're gonna find someone so much better." She even suggested I block him. "Clean break," she said. "You don't need that drama in your life." I listened to her. I blocked him on everything. Instagram, Snapchat, even Spotify, because I'm extra like that. I thought she was looking out for me. I thought she had my back. I was so wrong. While I was drowning in heartbreak, Maddie had her sights set on something bigger, NYU. She'd been obsessed with it since middle school, when she watched some rom-com set in New York and decided it was her destiny. She'd talk endlessly about living in a tiny Greenwich Village apartment, sipping overpriced coffee, and writing novels that'd make people cry. Her application essay was her masterpiece. She'd been working on it since sophomore year, drafting and redrafting until every word was perfect. It was this deeply personal story about how writing helped her process her parents' divorce, a topic she rarely talked about, even with me. She was convinced it was her golden ticket to NYU's creative writing program. She was also paranoid as hell about it. She'd heard horror stories about people stealing college essays or sabotaging applications, so she kept the file on a USB drive, locked in a heart-shaped keychain she carried everywhere. She'd joke about it, saying, "This essay's my future, no one's touching it." I respected her hustle. I wasn't artsy like her. My college apps were all about safe bets, like business or psychology, but I admired her passion. I'd read her drafts, give her feedback, and cheer her on when she'd freak out about deadlines. "You're gonna kill it," I'd tell her. "NYU's lucky to have you." God, I was naive. So that was us. Me, Maddie, and our perfect little world. Two best friends against the universe. I thought nothing could touch us. Not boys, not distance, not even the chaos of high school. We were solid, unbreakable. But I was about to learn that even the strongest bonds can snap. And when they do, they leave jagged edges. 2 weeks after Ethan dumped me, everything fell apart, and I realized the person I trusted most was the one holding the knife. It started with a single Instagram story. I was lying in bed, mindlessly scrolling to numb the pain of Ethan's breakup when I saw it. A boomerang. Maddie's face, all fake giggles and glossy lips, pressed against his. Ethan, my ex. They were at the pier, the same pier we'd gone to on our first date, sharing a cotton candy, her arm draped around his neck like she'd claimed him. The caption, best date ever. My heart stopped. I felt like the air had been sucked out of the room. I watched it again, then again, praying I'd imagined it. But no, it was them, together. 2 weeks after he broke my heart. I dropped my phone, my hands shaking, my mind was racing, trying to make sense of it. Was this a joke? A misunderstanding? I texted Maddie immediately. What the hell is going on? No reply. I called her. Voicemail. I was spiraling, pacing my room, my chest tight with panic. Maddie wouldn't do this. Not to me. There had to be an explanation. Spoiler, there wasn't. The next day at school, I found her by our locker. She was acting like nothing happened, laughing with Sophia, scrolling through her phone. I couldn't take it. I grabbed her arm and pulled her into the empty stairwell. Are you dating Ethan? I asked, my voice shaking. She froze, her eyes wide. Then she did something I'll never forget. She tilted her head and gave me this pitying smile, like I was some pathetic kid she felt sorry for. Oh, sweetie, she said, her voice dripping with fake concern. It just happened. We didn't mean for it to. It just happened? Like she accidentally fell into his arms and started making out? I stood there, stunned, as she launched into this rehearsed speech about how they connected after my breakup, how Ethan was different with her. Every word was a slap in the face. I wanted to scream, to shake her, but all I could choke out was, how could you do this to me? Her response? I didn't think you'd care this much. You said you were over him, right? That's when it hit me. She didn't just betray me, she planned it. She looked me in the eye and chose him over me. I went home and blocked them both. I told myself I was done, that I'd rise above it. But then I found something that changed everything. I was cleaning out my phone, deleting old screenshots, when I noticed something weird in my message history. A folder of archived texts I'd never seen before. They were from Ethan, sent the week before he dumped me. Messages I'd never gotten. I'm sorry, he wrote. I messed up. Can we talk? Another one. I don't want to lose you. Please call me. They were marked as read, but I hadn't read them. I hadn't even known they existed, but someone had. Someone who had access to my phone during study hall. Someone who knew my passcode because I'd trusted her with it. Maddie. She'd seen his texts. She'd hidden them. She'd let me think he'd ghosted me, all while she swooped in and took him for herself. I sat on my bed, staring at those messages, feeling something dark and heavy settle in my chest. It wasn't just sadness anymore. It was betrayal. And it was personal. The next few weeks were hell. Maddie and Ethan were everywhere. Instagram stories with them at the mall, holding hands. Snapchat videos of them lip-syncing to some cringy love song. Couple selfies with those stupid heart filters. Her head on his shoulder, his arm around her waist. They'd post boomerangs at the arcade, laughing like they were living in a damn rom-com. She'd tag him in sappy quotes like, "When you find your person." It was nauseating. Everyone at school acted like it was no big deal. They're cute together, I'd hear in the cafeteria. You're over Ethan, right? Even Sophia tried to play peacemaker, saying, maybe it's not worth fighting over a guy. They didn't get it. It wasn't just about Ethan. It was about Maddie, my best friend. The one person I'd trusted with everything. She'd thrown it all away for some guy she barely knew. I'd unfollowed them, but I couldn't stop checking from a burner account I made. I'd see her wearing my hoodie, the one I'd lent her last fall. I'd see him kissing her forehead the way he used to kiss mine, and her smile, that fake, perfect smile, it made my blood boil. Every post was a reminder. I'd lost my boyfriend, my best friend, and a piece of myself. And she didn't even care. I started shutting everyone out. I'd sit alone at lunch, earbuds in, blasting Taylor Swift songs like some cliché. I stopped hanging out with Sophia and Jake, Stopped going to parties. I didn't want to talk to anyone. I just wanted to disappear. Inside, I was a mess. I kept replaying every moment with Maddie, trying to figure out where it went wrong. Had she always been this selfish? Were there signs I'd missed? I'd think about our sleepovers, our promises, those stupid charm bracelets. Was it all a lie? The worst part was the guilt. This tiny voice in my head kept saying, maybe you're overreacting. Maybe you should forgive her. But then I'd see another one of their posts, and the anger would come rushing back, hot and sharp. I wasn't going to let her win. Not this time. I didn't want to just yell at her or start some petty fight. That was too small, too fleeting. I wanted something that would hurt. Something that would make her feel the way I did. Gutted, betrayed, powerless. And then it hit me. Her NYU essay. That USB drive was her lifeline. She'd flash it around like it was the key to her entire future. And in a way, it was. But Maddie had a flaw. She was careless. She'd leave her backpack unzipped in study hall, trusting everyone around her because she thought she was untouchable. She thought wrong. I started watching her, waiting for the perfect moment. I'd sit across from her in study hall, pretending to read, but really, I was studying her habits. She'd always leave her bag on the floor when she went to the bathroom or got up to talk to someone. It was like she was begging me to do something. And I did. One day, she left for the bathroom. Her backpack slumped against her chair. I told the teacher I needed to grab her notes for a group project. No one questioned it. I slipped the USB from her keychain, plugged it into my laptop, and copied the file in 47 seconds flat. I slid the drive back into her bag and sat down, my heart pounding. Step 1, done. I didn't want to just delete her essay or post it online. That was too obvious, too easy to trace. I wanted something subtler. Something that would ruin her without her ever suspecting me. So I got to work. I opened the file that night, alone in my room, the glow of my laptop the only light. Her essay was good, really good. It was raw, vulnerable, the kind of writing that made you feel something. For a second, I hesitated. This was her dream. Her heart. Was I really going to do this? Then I remembered her smile and that boomerang, and I started editing. I was careful. I didn't gut the essay outright. That would have been too suspicious. Instead, I made small, devastating changes. I swapped her volunteering story about tutoring kids for a fake one about organizing a high society charity gala that made her sound like a shallow snob. I tweaked her grammar, sprinkling in pretentious words like ameliorate and paradigmatic until it read like she'd swallowed a dictionary. And then, the kill shot. I found an obscure blog post from 2017 about the transformative power of narrative. It was just credible enough to seem like something she might have read. I copied a paragraph, word for word, and buried it in the middle of her essay. Plagiarism. The kind of thing colleges flag immediately. I saved the file, closed my laptop, and went to bed. The next few weeks were agonizing. I had to act normal, smile at Maddie in the halls, laugh at her jokes, pretend I wasn't plotting her downfall. She had no idea. She'd still talk about NYU, showing me pictures of the campus, rambling about her future life. I'd nod, say, "That sounds amazing," while inside, I was counting down the days. I knew the rejection wouldn't come right away. NYU's admissions process was slow, and I'd heard they double-checked for plagiarism. So I waited, keeping my burner account active to monitor her posts. She and Ethan were still going strong, posting couple pics like they were auditioning for a Netflix special. Every selfie was a reminder of why I was doing this. But there were moments, small ones, where I'd second-guess myself. Like when she'd text me a funny meme, or when I'd see her laugh in the cafeteria. Was I going too far? Was this worth it? Then I'd remember those hidden texts, and I'd push the guilt down. It happened in early May. I wasn't there when Maddie got the rejection letter, but the news spread like wildfire. She opened it during lunch, surrounded by our friends expecting an acceptance. Instead, she got a curt email citing concerns about academic integrity. She lost it. Full-on meltdown in the cafeteria, sobbing into Sophia's shoulder, saying it was a mistake, that she'd never plagiarize. She spent the next week calling the admissions office, emailing professors, begging for a second chance. But NYU wasn't budging. I'd see her in the halls, her eyes red, her usual spark gone. She stopped posting with Ethan. Stopped smiling, stopped being Maddie. She'd mutter about figuring out what happened, but she had no leads. No one did. I thought I'd feel triumphant, like some mastermind who'd pulled off the perfect crime. But I didn't. Not entirely. There was this pit in my stomach, this nagging feeling that I'd gone too far. I'd hurt her. Yeah, but I'd also hurt myself. But I wasn't done. I wanted her to think she'd ruined her own life. So I took the original essay, the unedited one I'd copied, and uploaded it to her Google Drive. I backdated the timestamp to make it look like she'd saved it months ago, then accidentally submitted the sabotaged version. She found it a week later. I know because she posted in our old group chat, freaking out. I sabotaged myself, she wrote, followed by a string of crying emojis. I'm such an idiot. I overwrote my essay and didn't even notice. She thought she'd done it. She blamed herself. I didn't respond. I deleted the chat, blocked her number, and moved on. Maddie never found out it was me. No one did. She graduated, went to some state school, and last I heard, she and Ethan broke up. Shocker. I don't talk about this much. Honestly, I try not to think about it. But sometimes when I'm alone, it creeps back. The guilt, the anger, the what-ifs. I didn't even love Ethan. I was gonna dump him anyway. He wasn't worth the drama. But Maddie, she was. She was my best friend, my family. And she threw it all away for some guy who didn't even matter. So yeah, I hurt her. I took her dream and crushed it. And I'd do it again in a heartbeat. Because some betrayals, you don't forgive. Thanks for sticking with me, guys. If you've ever been betrayed like this, or maybe pulled off some revenge of your own, drop it in the comments. I read every one. And if you like this story, hit that like button and subscribe for more. I've got plenty more where this came from. Until next time, stay savage.